how much freedom did you have when it came to creating the story for Star Wars Episode 7?
There was really a blank slate, and it was just the beginning of discussions with Michael Arndt and Larry Kasdan and Kathy Kennedy, and just starting to figure out what it was that, what story we wanted to tell. But mostly it began with what we wanted people to feel.
And so did you have any restrictions with kind of what you could do with any characters or anything like that, or was it just totally?
No, there were no restrictions. Yeah.
And did you ever feel kind of overwhelmed by that, because these characters you kind of grew up loving?
I did a little bit at first, because you think, oh my God, you can kind of do anything and go anywhere. But having Lawrence Kasdan at your side, who created the voice of Yoda, who wrote some of the best lines you've ever heard in a Star Wars movie. I mean, this was a guy who not only was there at the beginning, but has lived with it himself now for a few decades. So having him as a partner in this, having someone as smart as Michael Arndt in the very early stages, Kathy Kennedy, who of course has known George in this world and is one of the great producers in American cinema, it was great company to be with. So it wasn't quite paralyzing as it was exciting.
And was that true of when you actually came to work with the actors as well?
Well, it was funny. I had known all of them a little bit for a long time, and Harrison I met in 1990, and Mark and Carrie, nearly 20 years ago, and so it was a very surreal idea working with those actors at all, let alone in those roles, and it was intimidating at first, and yet once you got on stage, I think all of us were probably a little bit nervous about what it would feel like, and we all very quickly realized we were just there to work our asses off and do the best job we could.
And how, in that kind of writing process you talked about, how far and how much detail did you map out episodes 8 and 9? Have you kind of got the full story there, or did you leave just...
Well, we were definitely, we had a movie that was going to go into production. We had a movie that we had to write, and so we kept having ideas where we thought, oh, this would be a really great thing to do in 8, or that could be really cool, or this is where this could go in 9. And we'd sort of sketch out on the periphery these ideas, knowing our job was not to outline 8 and 9. Our job was to write 7. So we had very specific ideas, but we spent our time, that we had on obviously writing the script that we were going to be shooting. And then when Ryan was brought on board, we, talked to him about all the ideas that we had and all the things we were working on, and he pitched ideas, and he was, taking this the story in some places that were very much in line with what we were thinking, and in other places going and telling, a story that was very different from what we were thinking, but was incredibly exciting to see where he was going. And it was, he's so great. So it wasn't like, we were dealing with someone who needed our help, but it was great to see the way he took what we had started and where he's gone, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
And on a similar note, how did it feel for you when you watched the Star Trek Beyond trailer after you kind of restarted that franchise, and to see kind of the trailer from another director's film?
Well, it's very much, Justin's movie, and Simon, who co-wrote the script, knows the world certainly far better than most anyone I know. He's such a fan, and so it was bittersweet to see. I've been watching dailies, obviously, as it was shooting, but to see those actors whom I love, in a world that I've become very familiar with, that I wasn't involved in the shooting, was sort of, it's sort of out of body, and definitely, I feel jealous of Justin that he gets to work with these amazing performers. But it felt right, and it felt good that this thing, be taken on by someone else. And Justin is not just a very, talented guy, but he also has an amazing sense of energy and fun. And I think you get that sense from the trailer.
And just to wrap up, which one Star Wars character would you most like to see in a spin-off film? Which one is it kind of you'd really like to see the backstory explored?
I'd like to see an R-rated story of the Jawas. I just don't know what that would look like, but it would be badass.